really hard to defend. You know, she needs a crowd around her. I think Caitlin Clark is really hard to guard, you know, when she's healthy. Just her ability. She gave us a lot of handful this year, and, you know, she can shoot it from way out, but she's can pass it, and I think she's been a...
Sandy Brondello just made a bold statement that every WNBA coach secretly thinks, but rarely admits aloud. She called Caitlin Clark the toughest player to defend in the league, which is a huge compliment coming from someone who's faced her firsthand. Sandy's not just talking. She's been on the receiving end of Caitlin's explosive performances. She witnessed Caitlin's first ever rookie triple-double and watched her drop 25 points in the first half alone. What's fascinating is how Sandy describes trying to guard Caitlin. It reveals a deeper insight beyond simple basketball tactics. But there's more to Sandy's comment that most people might be overlooking. It's not just about Caitlin's skills. It's about the respect she commands from seasoned coaches who've seen her dominate time and again.
Go under on her. She's not shooting so well. And like, okay, well,
has the
then
best
she's
game
just...
of her life. Yeah.
She's just made 5, shots. Like, what? No, let's change it. That's when I'm like, I always say analytics, it's great information. It gives you knowledge, but then sometimes you got to see what. Yeah, non-shooter. She can't shoot it, and they make 3 in a row. You're like, okay, let's play a little closer now. Look.
Did you catch what Sandy really said? She explained, the analytics tell you one thing, but then Caitlin just makes 5 shots in a row, and you're like, okay, forget the data. That's incredible. Imagine professional coaches with entire analytics departments, pouring hours into studying shooting percentages, tendencies, and designing defensive schemes based on those numbers. Yet Caitlin consistently shatters those plans. She forces coaches to abandon their game strategies because what's effective on paper doesn't hold up in real time. The most revealing part is when Sandy talks about going under screens on Caitlin. In basketball, going under means daring the shooter to take the shot, essentially showing little respect for her shooting ability. That's one of the biggest signs of disrespect a defense can show. Sandy mentions that even when analytics suggest going under, Caitlin isn't fooled. She reads the defenses perfectly, often making her defenders pay for their assumptions. It's not just about her skill. It's about her mental toughness and game IQ, constantly outsmarting the best strategies designed to stop her. Caitlin's ability to defy analytics and expectations makes her one of the most dangerous players in the league. If you like this video, please leave like and subscribe our channel.
Can't shoot it, and they make 3 in a row. You're like, okay, let's play a little closer now. Like, come on, that's when you think, you just got. This is what I see. That's why I say I'm human driven and
I'm not gonna lie. I think that's one of those things with Caitlin. It's like you're never gonna leave Caitlin open. Just like you're never gonna leave Paige open. Like, Paige shot the ball terribly from 3 last year on a low volume.
You're never going to leave Caitlin open, and you're never going to leave Paige open either. Listen to how Sandy emphasizes that. It's not just about coaching strategies, it's about respect bordering on fear. She compares Caitlin to Paige Buchers, who struggled with her 3-point shooting last year on low volume. Sandy says it doesn't matter what the stats say. Defenders still guard them as if they're about to drop 40 points. Once you give them space or show them disrespect, they're going to make you pay. What's even more shocking is how teams actually adjust when facing Caitlin. They make sacrifices, pulling players out of their usual offensive roles just to slow her down. Teams are willing to do whatever it takes, even if it means disrupting their entire offensive system, because Caitlin's threat is so real and so dangerous.
Again, Nate Tibbetts. What Nate Tibbetts has sacrificed Kalia Copper. Like, he sacrificed Kalia Copper to guard Caitlin, and it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. Caitlin was a rebound off a triple-double. I think she had, was it like 15, 13, and 9? She was a rebound off.
This is incredible. Nate Tibbetts, a championship-winning coach, sacrificed Kalia Copper to guard Caitlin. Think about that. Kalia Copper is a major offensive threat, a player who creates shots, scores, and plays aggressively. Yet Tibbetts basically told her, tonight, your only job is to chase Caitlin, forget about scoring. And despite that, Caitlin nearly recorded a triple-double with 15 points, 13 assists, and just 1 rebound shy of a triple-double. She was so close to triple-double status while being guarded by one of the league's best defenders. That's the epitome of unstoppable. But what nobody's talking about is why coaches are willing to make these extreme sacrifices. What is it about Caitlyn's game that compels teams to completely overhaul their strategies, to pull their best defenders away from their usual roles, just to contain her? It shows how much she commands the court and forces teams into unthinkable adjustments.
Semesco picked her a full court in preseason. Carl Semesco just said, Ryan, you can score 0 points. We actually don't care. You can score 0. We don't care. As long as you guard Caitlyn, you're good. You're good. Like, I know there was a game where where Ryan killed Fever while guarding Caitlyn. But, like, we've seen it with Cheryl Reeve.
Here's what's really happening. And once you see this pattern, you can't unsee it. Every coach facing Caitlyn faces a tough decision. Do they guard her like any other player and risk her dropping 30 points with 15 assists? Or do they dedicate their best defender to her, sacrificing their offensive flow and hoping they can limit her to a near triple-double? It's basically choosing between getting blown out or losing narrowly. What's crazy is how this exposes what coaches truly think versus what they publicly say. Publicly, analysts talk about Caitlyn's turnovers, shooting percentages, or defensive weaknesses. But behind closed doors, coaches treat her as the most dangerous player on the court. Every game plan is built around containing her, showing just how much respect and fear they have for her game. This pattern reveals the incredible impact Caitlyn has on the game.
Second half was as bad as I've ever seen Caitlyn play. She literally, like, what's her name? Becky Hammond literally gave Aaliyah Boston open layups for an entire half. She gave Aaliyah Boston open layups in the entire half, and then she switched everything in the second half.
Did you catch that? Carl Semesco openly told Ryan that she could score 0 points, that it didn't matter. Her only job was to guard Caitlyn. That's mind-blowing. Imagine being a pro basketball player, and your coach says your entire role tonight is to shadow one player and make her miserable, regardless of your own scoring or rebounding. It shows how much of a threat Caitlyn truly is. But here's the kicker. There was a game where Ryan actually shut down Caitlyn, played exceptional defense, and even scored herself. So this strategy isn't foolproof. What coaches realize, though, is that fans don't always see the full picture. It's not just about how many points Caitlyn scores. It's whether she controls the game's flow and tempo. That's the real concern, and the reason teams go to such extreme lengths to contain her.
Time they talk about guarding Caitlyn, it's the stuff that her own coach doesn't want her to do. Like, they'll talk about how she can see all these passes. They'll talk about how basically she's almost this like maverick type talent. And then we always say it's like, how do you guard Caitlin Clark? You get the ball out of her hands. Caitlin Clark's own coach, yeah, we don't want the ball in her hands. We actually don't want the ball in her hands. We want her playing off the ball. Other teams' coaches, how do you want to guard Caitlin? We want her to play off the ball. We want the ball out of her hands. Caitlin's coach, we don't want the ball in her hands. Like, it's one of those things where it's like all of the
Here's what sets apart great players from transcendent ones. Great players dominate with their scoring, while transcendent players influence the game even when they're not scoring. Caitlyn falls into that second category. When defenses focus solely on stopping her scoring, she becomes a playmaker, racking up 13 assists. When teams try to shut down her passing, she'll drop 25 points in a half. It's a classic pick-your-poison situation. Both options are deadly. We can see this in specific games where coaches have adjusted their strategies. For example, in a game against Vegas, Becky Hammond, one of the sharpest tacticians, completely revamped her defensive approach at halftime. The outcome revealed why Sandy Brondello said what she did. Caitlyn's ability to adapt and control the game forces coaches into impossible dilemmas. Her versatility makes her a truly transcendent player, constantly keeping opponents guessing. So
the time when they beat the Fever when the Fever beat them in Caitlin's rookie year, Hayla McBride literally did not shoot a jump shot until the fourth quarter. Like, literally didn't shoot a jump shot till the fourth quarter.
So, Becky Hammond made a bold move against AJ Wilson. arguably the best player in the WNBA. She essentially gave her open layups for an entire half, intentionally leaving her unguarded. Why? Because she was so fixated on stopping Caitlin that she basically told AJ, "Go ahead and score. We're not helping off Caitlin." This might seem like the ultimate disrespect on defense, but Hammond did it because the numbers made sense. She was willing to let anyone else beat her team, except Caitlin. And surprisingly, this strategy worked in the second half when Hammond switched everything up, leaving Stephanie White unable to adjust on the fly. But here's the real concern. Caitlin's own coach wasn't equipped to counter that kind of adjustment. Imagine what could happen if Caitlin had a coach who truly knew how to maximize her strengths. That's where things get even more interesting. There's a clear disconnect between how opposing coaches see Caitlin and how her own coach utilizes her. Rival coaches consistently say she's impossible to guard. She can shoot from anywhere, her passing is elite, and she demands multiple defenders. Yet her offensive system doesn't even prioritize getting her the ball in her hands. It's like having a Ferrari and only driving it in second gear. The frustration is evident in the way critics talk about Stephanie White. They're not saying she's a bad coach, they're saying she's the wrong coach for Caitlin. The skills that make Caitlin unstoppable are the very ones her system doesn't emphasize. Opposing coaches see her as a transcendent talent, capable of taking over in numerous ways. Meanwhile, her own team's strategy seems to underutilize her full potential, which is a disconnect that could be holding her back from reaching her ultimate ceiling. All the teams Caitlin has faced so far clearly do not want the ball in her hands, yet her own coach seems to prefer it that way. That sentence alone should make Fever fans' blood boil. Think about what it implies. Coaches like Cheryl Reeve, Becky Hammond, Sandy Brondello, and Nate Tibbetts are all devising game plans specifically to keep the ball out of Caitlin's hands. They're applying full court pressure, trapping, switching everything, not because Caitlin turns it over often. She only had 3 turnovers all season under full court pressure. But because they know that if she brings the ball up and initiates the offense, she'll rip apart their defense. Yet Stephanie White runs offensive sets that voluntarily take the ball away from Caitlin. It's as if the opposing defenses are doing her job for her. The most frustrating part is that we have proof of what happens when teams actually try to contain Caitlin the right way. For example, Kayla McBride didn't attempt a jump shot until the 4th quarter of a game, an entire game, because Cheryl Reeve told her, "Your job is Caitlin Clark, and nothing else matters." That's 3 elite coaches, Reeve, Tibbetts, and Brondello, making the same calculated decision to neutralize their best offensive players and dedicate them entirely to slowing her down. And even with all that sacrifice, Caitlin still nearly posted triple-doubles, controlled the game, and made her teammates better. Now, imagine what she could accomplish with a coach who designed an offense around maximizing her strengths instead of minimizing them. That's the part that should grab everyone's attention. What we're witnessing is something truly rare in professional sports. Caitlin's combination of skills, adaptability, and leadership is exceptional. The right coaching approach could unlock her full potential and change the game entirely, revealing the extraordinary player she is destined to become. We are witnessing a player so exceptional that she's revealing the fundamental limitations of coaching strategies themselves. Sandy Brondello openly admitted that analytics often advise one approach, but then watching Caitlin play makes you think, nope, disregard that. That's a coach acknowledging that traditional basketball wisdom sometimes doesn't apply, and Brondello isn't alone. Every coach who's faced Caitlin has had to grapple with this dilemma. Should they rely on their preparation, data, and systems, or trust their eyes and make adjustments in real time? Because Caitlin defies the conventional rules. She shoots from distances that should be poor shots but aren't. She makes passes that should be turnovers but somehow find their target. She controls games without needing to dominate the ball. What makes this even more remarkable is the historical significance. Players like Steph Curry revolutionized the game by forcing defenses to rethink three-point strategies, and LeBron James transformed positional play. Now Caitlin is doing the same in the WNBA. She's compelling coaches to choose between sticking to their established systems or adapting for their survival. Most are opting for survival, deploying full-court presses not because they generate turnovers, they only have 3 all season, but because they delay her ball movement. They switch everything not because it's sound defense, but to prevent her from finding her rhythm. Coaches are sacrificing offensive personnel to become defensive specialists, all just to slow her down. These are desperate tactics, and desperation often highlights true value. When a coach is willing to radically alter their team's identity solely to neutralize one player, it speaks volumes about her threat level. What's even more fascinating is from a psychological perspective. Caitlin's ability to challenge and reshape coaching paradigms reveals her to be more than just a great player. She's a revolutionary force in basketball, pushing the entire game into new territory and demanding that everyone rethink what's possible. In basketball, there's a concept called gravity, how much defensive attention a player commands just by being on the court. Steph Curry exerts incredible gravity because defenders have to chase him around screens 30 feet from the basket, pulling multiple defenders out of position. Giannis has gravity because teams have to collapse on his drives, opening up space elsewhere. Caitlin, however,